The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Ariana Grande debuts delicate I Do Love You tattoo during London concert. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood trauma, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. So let's just get right into it, because today's deep dive is honestly wild.
Oh, it is absolutely wild. I mean, we're looking at a massive collision between like huge public spectacle and this really intense, permanent, private intimacy.
Right, exactly. So to set the scene for you guys listening, picture this. It's August 15th, 2026. You're standing inside London's massive O2 Arena. The crowd is just, absolutely buzzing.
Oh, I can only imagine the energy in that room.
Oh, yeah. And there's this agonizingly long, 8-minute countdown ticking away on the screens. And finally, this backlit silhouette of pop superstar Ariana Grande appears on a giant curtain. The whole Eternal Sunshine tour is just this sensory overload, right? Digital flames, Victorian 90s, those impossible stilettos she always wears.
It's pure theater.
Yeah.
But in a room of 20,000 people experiencing this massive audiovisual illusion, the internet just completely bypasses the pyrotechnics.
Totally. They don't even care about the fire.
Right. Everyone just zeroes in on this one microscopic detail. It's a brand new script tattoo right across her collarbone. It simply reads, I do love you.
And that tiny little tattoo basically shattered a certain corner of the internet. And, well, that's our mission today. We are pulling from a really fascinating stab of sources for this deep dive.
Yeah, we've got some great material to work with.
We do. We have concert reviews from The Guardian, pop culture breakdowns from Reality Tea and Fashion Times, some intense fan detective work from a Reddit thread, an article decoding her tattoo history, and a really incredible academic paper from the Public Journal of Semiotics titled Tattoos as Narratives, Skin and Self.
Which sounds heavy, but I promise it perfectly explains what's going on here.
Exactly, because we aren't just here for the gossip. We're using this massive viral moment to unpack the coded messages we all put on our bodies and why we are so driven to map our most volatile chapters onto our skin.
I mean, the visual contrast alone on that stage is worth analyzing.
Oh, geez.
She's projecting this massive, stadium-filling, explosive voice, but she deliberately chooses to display this incredibly small, almost whispered, intimate text on her collarbone.
Yeah, the placement is so intentional, and on the surface, the phrase, I do love you, ties back to a classic 1965 Billy Stewart song.
Which is a great song, by the way.
It is, but the real significance, the thing that broke the internet, is the fact that it perfectly matches a tattoo worn by Ricky Alvarez.
Yep, there's the T. For those who don't know, he's a photographer, her former backup dancer, and crucially, her ex-boyfriend from a relationship that ended a decade ago, back in 2016.
So, okay, we have a matching tattoo with an ex, but the timeline is the real anomaly here. According to the breakdown in Fashion Times, this was not some spontaneous romantic couples trip to the tattoo parlor.
Oh, not at all.
Ricky has had his version of this tattoo, which is done in this bold 3D font on his chest, by the way, since at least July 2025.
Wait, July 2025?
Yes.
Yeah.
He posted a photo of it over a full calendar year before Ariana debuted hers at the O2 Arena.
Wow. I mean, that requires an immense amount of premeditation. Getting a matching tattoo a whole year later, that's a calculated physical response. It fundamentally alters the dynamic, It goes from a shared experience to a delayed, deliberate broadcast.
It's literally the ultimate delayed text message response. Think about it. If you text someone a major declaration of love and they wait an entire year to respond, and they do it by permanently altering their physical body, that is a massive statement.
It really is.
I just have to wonder about the psychology of waiting a full year to respond in ink. It speaks to a need for a very specific type of public reveal.
Oh, absolutely. And, that's not even the wildest part.
Yeah.
Later in the deep dive, we're going to talk about the shocking twist with her song lyrics that nobody saw coming.
Oh, man, the lyrics, you guys definitely want to stick around for that. And hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead today.
So getting back to the reveal, our sources show this wasn't just out of the blue. It was the culmination of a really carefully constructed trail of breadcrumbs.
She knew exactly what she was doing.
Oh, 100%. Just 3 days before the London show, she posted this Instagram photo dump. And it contained these cozy, slightly obscured mirror selfies with Ricky.
Which already sent fans into a tailspin.
Right. But tucked away in that exact same post was a blurry shot of the words, I do love you. written in blue ink on a piece of paper. She was basically handing her fans the cipher to decode the tattoo before she ever walked on stage.
And she was doing it musically, too, which is the twist we teased. Instead of sticking to the original lyrics of her 2019 hit, Thank You, Next, where, she famously sings that she wrote some songs about Ricky and now listens and laughs, she started evolving the lyrics live on tour.
I love when artists do this. It's so dramatic.
It is. So in Austin, the lyric morphed into, I know he's still got my back. Then in Brooklyn, it became, we always find our way back.
Oh, wow. The progression there is so clear.
And then by the time she hit London, the lyric was just, we don't talk about that.
Which is ironic because she's literally forcing everyone to talk about that. She was using a live nightly performance to actively rewrite her own romantic history in front of thousands of people. She's demanding that the audience track the changes.
But see, that level of premeditation clashes entirely with her own complaints about fame. Ariana has spoken openly many times about the exhausting, endless public scrutiny she faces.
Yeah, she hates the invasive media coverage.
Right. So if you hate the spotlight being on your private life, why intentionally turn your collarbone into a billboard for Reddit detectives? Why play this highly public game of cat and mouse with song lyrics and Instagram hints instead of just keeping the rekindled relationship private?
Well, public figures often develop this really paradoxical relationship with their audience. They resent the intrusion, obviously, but they also kind of rely on the public to validate their reality.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when your entire life is mediated by media coverage and fan perception, a relationship might not feel entirely real or solidified until it has been witnessed and deciphered by the masses. The fans act as this third-party validator.
Oh, that makes the Reddit reaction even more interesting then, because if you look at the r/Ariana Grande neutral subreddit, the fans are playing detective, sure, but they're also expressing deep concern.
Yeah, I saw some of those threads. They were worried.
Very worried. They point out she recently split from actor Ethan Slater, who actually inspired her new track, Bad Thing, and they note her long-standing habit of rushing headfirst into relationship tattoos. So they are acting as validators, but not necessarily providing the validation she might be looking for.
Which is fascinating, and it brings us right to the core of that Public Journal of Semiotics paper. To understand why someone uses their skin to navigate this public-private divide, we have to look at two distinct sociological concepts from the study: referencing and mapping.
Okay, but before we get to those, we should probably clarify what semiotics actually is for anyone listening who hasn't taken a sociology class recently.
Good call. Yeah. So think of semiotics as the study of how meaning is created and communicated through signs and symbols. It's the underlying logic of how we look at, say, a red octagon on the street and automatically know it means stop.
Or how a gold band on a left ring finger signals marriage.
Exactly. It explores how a physical object or an image carries a much larger invisible cultural weight.
Got it. Okay, so within that framework, the paper introduces referencing as the external cultural symbol. It's what the tattoo looks like to the outside world. To a casual observer in the O2 arena, the words, I do love you, just reference a nice romantic quote.
Right, that's the reference.
Oh.
But mapping is the deeply personal, internal, emotional connection the wearer attaches to that ink.
Let's apply that to something we all experience to make it super clear. Think about an old concert t-shirt you own from, 10 years ago. To the public walking past you on the street, it just references a band. That's the referencing.
But mapped to your internal reality, it represents the exact summer you learned to drive or a specific friend you went to the show with.
Exactly. You're simultaneously displaying something publicly while strictly controlling who actually understands the real message.
And tattoos operate as permanent physical versions of that t-shirt.
Yeah.
The academic paper argues they are coded meanings. Ariana's tattoo is a textbook example of this.
It really is.
To the general public, it's referencing romance. But mapped onto her specific reality, to Ricky, it's a direct, permanent response to his tattoo. And to the fandom, it's a puzzle piece they're invited to solve. She gets to express her feelings out loud, on her skin, while retaining ownership of the true meaning.
I mean, I get that, but I struggle to understand the academic defense here, though. If mapping is so deeply personal, why map a fluid, chaotic relationship using the most permanent medium possible? Human emotions, especially romantic ones, are notoriously volatile. Committing a shifting narrative to skin just seems incredibly short-sighted.
Well, the researchers in the semiotics study actually tackled that exact paradox. They interviewed a subject named Rachel who got a tattoo of autumn leaves, specifically to symbolize change.
Okay, that makes sense. Change is constant.
Right. But another subject got a tattoo of a 1950s toy robot given to him by an ex-girlfriend.
Oh, yikes. A tattoo of a gift from an ex-girlfriend seems like a recipe for disaster in future relationships.
You'd think so, right? It would be, if the mapping was static. But the paper argues that these tattoos don't just freeze a moment in time. They represent how even permanent things evolve. The subject who got the robot tattoo actually remapped its meaning over time.
Wait, how do you remap a tattoo of an ex's gift?
Well, years after the breakup, he bought a pen with a little robot on it to cheer up his current girlfriend before a big presentation. He actively shifted the internal meaning of the permanent ink to fit his changing life. The academic paper calls tattoos indelible hubs of memory.
Indelible hubs of memory. I love that phrase.
Me too. They capture a feeling in amber. Even if the relationship that inspired the tattoo ends, the ink remains as a marker of who you were when you felt that way.
Well, speaking of indelible hubs of memory, Ariana's canvas is incredibly crowded with those hubs. According to the elite tattoo blog source we reviewed, she has anywhere between 50 and 75 tattoos.
That is a lot of mapping.
Yeah, it started way back in 2012 with a simple little heart on her toe to mark her transition from acting to music. And now she has this massive collection, including a matching for good tattoo shared with her Wicked co-star Cynthia Erivo.
And, the physical permanence of the ink occasionally collides with human error, which provides a perfect demonstration of semiotics in action.
Oh.
We really have to talk about the infamous kanji palm tattoo mistake.
Oh my gosh, yes. We cannot skip the barbecue grill tattoo.
It's iconic. So she wanted the Japanese characters for Seven Rings, her hit song, tattooed on her palm. But because of the severe pain of tattooing that specific area, she stopped early and left out a few characters.
And the resulting tattoo accidentally translated to small charcoal grill.
A barbecue grill on her hand. I mean, that is rough. But in semiotics, you have the signifier, which is the physical symbol itself, the actual Japanese characters, and this signified the intended meaning, which was Seven Rings.
So when she couldn't take the pain and altered the physical characters, she broke the signifier.
Exactly. The intended meaning collapsed entirely, leaving her with a hibachi grill on her palm. It proves that skin is a highly unforgiving medium for rough drafts. You just can't explain away a broken signifier to the public.
And she eventually tried to modify it by adding more characters, which ties directly into the Reddit discussion about her cycle. Fans noted her frequent use of relationship ink. She had several tattoos dedicated to her ex-fiancé Pete Davidson, for example.
Yeah, the Pete Davidson era was heavy on the tattoos.
Very heavy. But when those relationships end, she rarely relies on laser removal. She uses more ink to cover them up or modify them, like she turned a butterfly tattoo on her arm into a flower design. She's literally writing over her own history.
I mean, her body operates like a living scrapbook.
That is exactly the analogy I was thinking of. When you have a physical scrapbook, you don't usually rip the pages out because it ruins the binding. When you want to move on, you just glue a new picture over the old one.
Yeah, you just layer it.
Right. The old picture is still there, underneath, creating this thick, layered history of your life. Every mistake, every ex, every triumph is just another layer of glue and paper on the exact same page.
And just like a physical scrapbook, the reality of the pages themselves can get worn down by the sheer weight of what's being added to them. Which brings us to a really serious point. While we're discussing her skin as a metaphorical canvas, The Guardian's review of the London show presents a stark, honestly conflicting perspective on the physical reality of the woman actually wearing it.
And just a heads up, later in the deep dive, actually right now, we're going to talk about a shocking observation regarding her physical condition that nobody really expected from a concert review. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this part of the discussion is really crucial.
Yeah, it really changes the tone of everything we've been talking about.
It does. The review by Kate Solomon was deeply uncomfortable to read. She called the Eternal Sunshine Tour pop illusion at its most effective. She praised the slickness of the show and the unbelievable vocals, of course.
Because the vocals are always insane.
Always. But she admitted feeling an inescapable conflict while watching it. During the song positions, the set is engulfed in digital flames, and Ariana is singing about sexual confidence. But the reviewer felt genuine concern for her physical frailty.
There's a really jarring shift in the article.
Very jarring. Solomon explicitly described her looking like a, quote, little kid, or in a particularly stark moment of lighting, like a skeleton.
Wow. I mean, it shatters the illusion of invincibility that pop music relies on. The reviewer literally wrote, "I shouldn't be able to see this person's skeleton."
That line gave me chills.
Me too. It's a heartbreaking contrast between the manufactured pop diva persona commanding an arena and the fragile, flesh-and-blood human being visibly struggling under the weight of it all.
Which brings us to the darker side of public perception. In Western culture, a woman's body, especially a famous one, operates almost as public property. Every fluctuation is moralized by millions of strangers online.
Oh, the policing is relentless.
It really is. Gaining weight is framed as a failure of discipline. Losing weight becomes a cause for global performative panic. Ariana has actually explicitly stated she is taking a step back from visibility after this tour wraps up because the exhausting commentary on her body has taken a massive toll on her.
And, the academic paper spends a significant amount of time on gender, beauty, and body control. It argues that for women whose bodies are constantly marginalized and policed by these public assumptions, body modification takes on a radically different meaning.
How so?
Well, if we synthesize the overwhelming public policing of her physical form with her continuous desire to get tattooed, a really profound picture emerges. Getting a highly personal coded tattoo is the ultimate act of reclaiming autonomy.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that. When the entire world feels entitled to scrutinize and evaluate your skeleton, your physical form is no longer yours. By deliberately driving a needle into her own skin to implant a coded message that only she fully understands, she is forcibly taking ownership back from the public. She's setting a hard boundary, like, you can look at my body, you can even write reviews about it, but I am the one writing the actual story on it.
It's a powerful assertion of selfhood in an environment designed to completely strip you of it. As the semiotics paper concludes, tattoos are complex vehicles for social expression. They allow an individual to simultaneously be part of a collective cultural aesthetic while fiercely setting themselves apart.
And the I Do Love You tattoo sits precisely at that intersection. It uses a public medium to shield a private reality.
Yeah, it's quite poetic when you break it down.
It really is. What started as just a tiny piece of concert gossip, a zoomed-in photo of a collarbone at the O2 Arena, reveals how we navigate our own histories. It demonstrates how humans use their bodies to document evolving stories, blending massive public spectacle with the absolute most private intimacy.
Behind all the digital flames and the calculated Instagram ciphers, there's just a person actively trying to make sense of her life, securing her memories one drop of ink at a time.
It kind of forces us to reconsider how we view permanence, doesn't it? We assume a tattoo is a final statement, but as the sociological mapping shows, it's really just a starting point for an evolving internal narrative.
Yeah, think about how you document the messy, beautiful, or fleeting chapters of your own life. Would you commit an unpredictable narrative, like a rekindled romance with an ex you haven't dated in a decade, to something as permanent as your skin?
It's a huge risk. It assumes your future self will still want to carry that specific map.
You're gambling that the physical marker will continue to serve a positive psychological purpose, even if the relationship it references dissolves again.
But, maybe the permanence we attach to tattoos is just another illusion anyway.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, biologically speaking, the human body is in a constant, invisible state of renewal. We shed millions of skin cells every single day. Science tells us that the human body regenerates almost all of its cells every 7 to 10 years.
Oh, wow. So the physical canvas itself is entirely transient.
Exactly. The actual physical skin that first received the needle, that bled, healed, and locked in that specific drop of ink, literally ceases to exist over time.
That is mind-blowing.
It's entirely replaced by brand new cells that simply inherit the old ink. So when you look at a 10-year-old tattoo, you are not looking at a permanent marker of who you are today. You're looking at the fading ghost of the person you used to be, carried forward by a body that has already moved on.
It completely reframes the living scrapbook analogy we used earlier. The pages are slowly replacing themselves underneath the images.
They really are. So keep that in mind the next time you see a piece of ink, whether it's projected on a massive screen at a stadium concert or etched into your own arm.
A fading ghost of the person you used to be. I love that.
You've been listening to Star Scoop Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.